What's up, the Dim Podcast? Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Marv,
Your host, Son.
and this is our guest.
Jalen.
Yes, sir. How you doing today? Start off with a simple question. How you doing today, sir?
Well, thank you for having me.
How you doing today, son?
Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Doing good myself. We got a little questions for our guest. Few questions. Y'all know how this go. So we gonna get right into it. You can start off with question number one.
All right, so y'all know we're gonna be asking Jalen, who is in the Air Force, a few questions about the military. Just to educate y'all. And so, question number one is, what is your story?
So let's see. So my parents, I'll start there. They met in high school in Louisiana. Dad joined the Air Force, moved to Jersey, stationed in Jersey. I was born in Jersey. We eventually moved to D.C., then eventually Dallas, New Orleans, and then Atlanta. So grew up in Atlanta. Yeah. And Atlanta was great. Really enjoyed my time there. What can I say?
Yeah, I got you. That's pretty cool, man. Atlanta, we all like Atlanta, the big city.
Yeah.
And all that.
I don't like the beef.
So, like, what is one of your favorite experiences from Atlanta?
Favorite experiences from Atlanta. So, living in Atlanta, man, the time it was like the capital of hip hop. So I got involved with that a lot.
Hey, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 32.
32.
Yeah. So, I started working in the music industry. Worked with a few not so well known artists, but a couple that grown into some pretty big artists, and had the opportunity to just kind of be in that environment, learn different things and experience different things like that. But that's where I call home. My family, most of my family's there. Yeah.
What's a few things you learned, or like, what's a few things you learned helped you be the man you are today from Atlanta?
From Atlanta.
From your time in Atlanta or back then?
Wow. The importance of family.
Okay.
The importance of family for sure.
We talking like high school, right? This like high school era?
Yeah, so I actually moved to Atlanta when I was 9. And we moved around a lot for various reasons, but the reason we moved to Atlanta is because we had family there, and that helped us out a lot, me and my mom. Also, my dad's side of the family is in Atlanta, and so that's what brought us there originally. And so that kind of just helped us get on our feet, and just growing up there, being close to family, spending time with them over every weekend, and it was great. It was a great time. Yeah.
So since you say like what you remember from Atlanta is your family, like what led you, right? So would you say family is what led you to the Air Force, or?
Actually, yeah. So my dad was in the Air Force. My grandfather was in the Army. He was he served in Vietnam, and my great grandfather was also in the Army. So, I initially was reluctant to join the Air Force, especially coming straight out of high school. Went to college initially, got a lacrosse scholarship, and college didn't really work out. Initially, the school I chose, but after that, my father, he was, very adamant about, you should join the Air Force, but I didn't know much about it. So fast forward, after working in the industry, that not really being what I expected it to be, I looked into the Air Force as an option. I initially was going to go active duty. Spoke to a recruiter, went through the whole process, but that actually didn't pan out. For some reason, we lost contact after like months of working together, and at the time, I kind of needed to join the military or do something. So,
Oh no, you go ahead.
So yeah, since the active duty recruiter and I lost contact, I eventually ended up contacting a reserve recruiter, and it pretty much took about 2 weeks, and I was in the reserve.
Define active duty and reserve for like the people who don't know.
Yeah, so active duty is what people traditionally think of when they think of military service. So that's like you sign a 4-year contract, you uh, you get shipped off somewhere, and you work there full time, Monday through Friday, things like that.
Okay.
Reserve uh, and guard are auxiliary services, so they augment the active duty. So think about it as 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year. So essentially part time.
Okay.
Yeah. You go to the same basic training and you go to the same tech school, but that's the biggest difference between the two.
Okay. Describe first experiences of like so you said you still go through basic training,
Yeah.
right? So describe like first experience of basic training. So like maybe some difficulties you had in basic training.
Yeah.
You said family was a big part like of your life at that
Absolutely.
time. So
Yeah.
maybe like the challenge from being away from family.
Yeah, I was a little older when I joined. So I was okay with being away from family for a little bit.
Okay.
It definitely for the younger airmen who I was in basic with, it definitely that was some of their first time being away from home. So it kind of challenged them a little bit. For me, it was okay. It was
Okay.
First impressions though, you get on that bus or you get off the bus and
Screaming at you.
screaming at you. Yeah. But what people say in the military is like basic training is the best 2 months experience you never want to experience again. So it definitely was a very interesting time. You got a lot of time alone, with the airmen there, and it isn't something that I think people should fear, especially in regards to like joining the military.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so when you say that,
Yeah.
because you said people shouldn't fear it, but you said like it's the best 2 months that you wouldn't want to experience it again.
Yeah.
Is that in terms of like it's hard in a certain way?
It challenges you. There's fitness every day. You don't speak to your family. Like there's no cell phones.
Yeah, no cell phone. Yeah.
You can write letters, and every couple of weeks, you get like a cell phone call just to check in, like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just the fitness aspect. Air Force fitness isn't the biggest thing compared to like the Marines or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just living with people you don't know in a dorm room.
Yeah.
So there's certain challenges, like personnel challenges that come with that. But overall, it's 8 weeks. It's pretty easy.
What's some
Fairly
stuff you
easy. Learned mostly military related things,
Okay.
patience as well. But mostly military related. A lot of we had classes as well, and they taught us about the background of the military and what the ranks are and how to customs and courtesies and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, what would you say is a fun experience? 'Cause, I mean, you say it's like dorm rooms, and,
Yeah.
So I mean, you're a bunch of guys
Yeah.
in the military, like.
Yeah, we had fun. I mean, the military drill instructor, he would he's not with us like 24/7.
Yeah.
So we have times to ourselves and we joke, laugh. Everyone's like from different places in the world, or in the United States, and getting to know one another and things like that. We just have a good time, try to make the
Right.
best of it. Yeah.
You still have like friends from the Air Force from that time?
I do. We don't talk as often, it's 2 months.
Yeah.
But we've kept in touch and reach out every now and then, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what was it with active duty and what was the other one?
Active duty. So there's active duty, there's reserve, and then
Okay.
there's the guard.
So reserve. So it's like, are you still part of it or no?
So yeah, so I was in the reserve for 6 years, but recently just transferred into the guard.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
No, you keep going. You keep going.
okay. So there's a difference between the reserve and the guard. So guard is normally state funded, traditionally, and they're, for example, national emergencies, like a hurricane or a tornado. That's when you normally see the guard. they'll step in and they'll help with emergency management or response, things like that. Most recently, you might have seen like in New York with the subway system.
Yeah.
They have the guard there, or like January 6th, for example, the guard was sent there for response.
Yeah.
So that's different than the reserve. Reserve is more federally funded, and so they are just there to help the active duty if manpower is a little low and they need somebody to kind of come help fill in for the time being.
So are you still in the Air Force?
Yeah, so I'm in the Guard currently.
Okay.
State Guard, yeah.
And it's been how long since you first joined?
So I joined the reserve in 2018.
Okay, 2018,
Yeah,
so about 6 years, 5 years.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of crazy. So wait, like, do you ever get out?
So like, what do you mean, like deploy or?
Like, no, I mean like, because obviously.
Oh, do I ever get out of the Air Force? Yeah. So you signed a contract. So when you first join the reserve or the Guard, it's a 6-year contract. After that 6 years, you can elect to extend. You can elect to re-enlist. Different things like that.
Okay.
So since going from the reserve, signing my initial 6 years, and then joining the Guard, I signed another 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, how hard would you say the process of joining the Air Force was? Because I know that a lot of people say the Air Force is the hardest.
Yeah. So first you have to take your ASVAB. Once you have your scores, you can take that to a recruiter. You go through a process of just like getting on their system, telling them your name, school, stuff like that. Then you, if you make it past that process, they vet you a little bit. Then they'll send you to MEPS. MEPS is a medical evaluation. Once you pass the medical evaluation, then you're pretty much good to go. Then you get a date for basic training, and another difference between the active duty and the Guard reserve. In the Guard or reserve, you get to choose your job and essentially choose where you want to live. So if you get a job, say for example, you live in Georgia but you get a job in Oklahoma, then if you move to Oklahoma, you can still work your Air Force job in Georgia, or you can transfer to one in Oklahoma. So active duty, you don't get to choose your job or where you're stationed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to ask about this real quick because we know you from totally different like part of life. We don't know the Air Force we just know you from.
Yeah.
So like describe how work outside of like the Air Force, how does that happen with you still being in the Air Force?
Yeah, so with the Guard and reserve, it's part-time. So I go in 1 week in a month, and 2 weeks out of the year. So by law, generally, employers, if you have military service, you're excused from your work. No questions asked for the most part. I've had no issues because I work Monday through Friday most of the time. Yeah. As long as if a weekend comes up where I have to be at work, I just kind of let them know, hey, I'll be here for this weekend. Okay. I won't be able to make it. So just communication and scheduling, and time management.
When you working for the Air Force, where are you at?
So they have a base here locally.
Okay.
So I'm about 15 minutes from my house. Okay. Essentially, yeah.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you say is the secret to success of, like, in the military? Like, how would you say, what's the best way to be successful?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, in order to be successful, what you want to do is execute your job. Do it well. Put yourself out there, make yourself available. Volunteer for different opportunities. The more people you meet, network with.
Life lesson.
Yeah, like that'll go a long way.
Yeah.
And it'll open the door more for you in the military and outside the military. Yeah. Okay.
So what's some false narratives that you heard?
False narratives. A lot of people, I feel like, have a negative opinion of the government. from whatever background they come from, and sometimes that skews their view of military or being involved with politics or
Yeah.
Civics in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great introduction to maybe a world of working in the government or getting involved with politics or civics.
Mm-hmm.
The government is the largest employer in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So military offers a lot of opportunity to get involved and just separate yourself from others. Yeah, in a positive way. Yeah.
What do you my bad. Care to say what you do outside of military?
So outside of the military, currently I work for the Oklahoma City Thunder
Mm-hmm.
with the Thunder Fellows program.
Shout out Thunder Fellows.
Shout out to
Shout
the
out Thunder
fellows.
Fellows. Also, I'm in school full time
Okay.
at the University of Oklahoma.
Huh.
Yeah,
You?
yeah,
You shout out too? Okay.
yeah. Boomer Sooner.
Are you for what?
So I have so many credits. One of the benefits of being in the military, they give you college
Free.
credits as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So based on all the college credits that I have, I'm currently getting my bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I plan to get my master's in something more specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just told us one of the benefits
Yeah.
of joining the Air Force. You get free college credits, right?
Yeah.
So what are some other benefits?
Yeah. So that depends on which route you take.
Mhm.
But for the Guard specifically, each state has their own Guard, Air National Guard or Army Guard.
Mhm.
And essentially you can get free public in-school tuition. On top of that,
Mhm.
they have a educational benefit. So depending on the hours,
Mhm.
credit hours you take per semester, you get additional payment directly to you.
Hmm.
So it's called the Selective Reserve, the Montgomery GI Bill Selective Reserve. Yeah. So you get an additional payment, and then you obviously part time you get that payment as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. But for example, if you go to college and you say you want to join the ROTC,
Mhm.
if you get accepted, that's a full ride, and then you get a stipend as well. The reserve is a little different. You get about $4,500 per semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you recommend to, like, if there's a kid here
Yeah.
or somebody in high school here, senior,
Yeah.
doesn't know what they want to do in life,
Yeah.
would you recommend military?
Absolutely.
You would?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend you.
What would you tell them?
Yeah. Do your research. Ask questions. If there's anyone in your family or a friend's family that you can talk to and just get some insight to. Every advice that I've gotten from people is, join the Air Force.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can. But yeah, like it offers you so many opportunities. Just depending on your specific situation, I would recommend a different route. So if you want to leave home
Mhm.
for whatever reason, I would say active duty might be your best option.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you want to stay home and collect a check, and go to school or just work, then Guard, Reserve,
Okay.
They even have sign-in bonuses as well. Like I was in processing not too long ago, just getting onto the new base.
Mhm.
Overheard a conversation between a new airman who had just enlisted, and he said his sign-in bonus was like $60,000,
Mhm.
and a couple months later they upped that to $100,000. So for specific jobs that people aren't really eager to sign up for,
Mhm.
The Air Force or Army, they need people to fill those positions, so they try to incentivize, people to take those jobs.
Mhm.
So they add signing bonuses. So if you think about it, if you join the Guard part-time, you get free education.
Yeah.
You pick one of those jobs, you get $100,000 I mean, yeah. So.
Sweet.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Marv.
How we doing so far? How we doing? Yeah.
Having a plan after high school, like going to the military, is like a big deal.
Yeah.
So if we can like liven it up a little bit, like
Okay.
say what? Having a plan? Yeah, like this kind of like a big deal for some people. But
Yeah, I got you.
So it's like liven it up a little bit, like
Okay.
not be so serious.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Reese, how many minutes
So,
you
like-
get? 20. Good.
Okay.
All right. I don't know when we get to 30.
3, 2, 1. Action.
Back recording in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I know that joining the military is like it's a serious thought for a lot of high schoolers. You know, so a lot of seniors. You know, they don't know what they want to do, and I know they really think about, okay, well, I want to go to the military, but I know some of their concerns are, what am I gonna do like after the military? You know, like what's the plan after? You know, I know I'm going to war. You know, but like, what happens afterwards?
Yeah. So let me clarify. So like going active duty doesn't necessarily mean you'll be in war or engaged in combat.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a false narrative that people be having.
That's true
I hear
too.
that a
Yeah.
lot. Like
Yeah.
like some or you'll see on social media, people like the recruiters will be on social media, and then people will be in the comments like why would I sign my life away when
Right.
why would I be able to why would I put myself at risk to get deployed anytime? Is that
Yeah.
is that a true narrative in the military or no?
So, myself personally, I've never been deployed. Like I said, I've been in 6 years. It's a possibility. There's always a possibility of deployment.
Yeah.
But being deployed doesn't necessarily mean you'll be engaged in combat or war specifically. Just kind of depends on the time that you're in, right? The time that the United States is in, or allies and what have you. So being deployed doesn't necessarily mean you'll be engaged in combat.
Okay.
Yeah. After the military, you know, I think the sky's the limit. If you have veteran status, any job that you apply to, you'll get preferential treatment. So you apply for a job, your application goes straight to the top of the list.
What's tough?
Yeah, you know, there are home loans, things like that, like military benefits, like, you know, discounts and things like that at, you know, your favorite stores, or when you go to take a flight, you know, you board the airplane first. You know, a lot of small things. Another one, for example, this helps in Atlanta, like boarding the airplane. That's the busiest.
It definitely is.
You know, yeah.
That definitely will be tough. Them airports be crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
going through TSA is exactly
Man.
crazy. So, little things like that, it goes a long way. Yeah, yeah. But a long time, a lifetime of additional benefits that comes with that. And yes, there's a possibility of combat. But
Okay.
yeah.
So like, I'm not trying to, you know, make it like grim, but like, I just want to know your honest opinion. Though, like, do you fear ever going to active duty? Like,
you know, I don't fear it.
mm-hmm.
It's something I think about, especially in the world today, like the current situation,
Yeah.
things at the
Yeah.
moment. But
The geopolitical state. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So it's something I think about, but it's not something that I fear. No.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 That's true.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's like, so I'm trying to, you know, kind of go off topic, but like,
Sure.
so you in the Air Force, I bet
Yeah.
you know a few pilots, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, what would you say, like, how are their experiences like on some Top Gun Maverick type stuff?
Okay.
You know, like what's it like? What would they say is their favorite experience flying the plane? You know.
So the pilots are like, they're like the superstars. They're like the quarterbacks, if you will.
Big
Oh, okay.
Big Bronze campus.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. So, you know, especially in the Air Force, everything that we do kind of supports what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I worked with, I was a crew chief or air crew mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with cargo planes for the last 6 years. I only recently started working with fighters, fighter jets. So I don't know many fighter jet pilots
Mm-hmm.
per se, but I would have to assume it'd be pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
was to sign up right now, would I get a Hellcat? No, I'm playing.
I would advise against it. I'd advise against it for sure.